It's that time of year. The leaves have returned, the birds are hitting that vibrato, and I become overstimulated with all the excess clothing I have, and I want to chuck it into the path of a nearby high-speed bullet train. Specifically, I've been holding on to a lot of vintage clothing. Take the opportunity to get rid of some of it. A couple of big boxes here. I'm hoping to fill those up. At the same time, we can have a conversation about, you know, changing styles, the reality of a changing body. I'm ready. I'm ready to be done with it. Probably not the smartest day to be doing this because I have not put the AC in this room yet, so the moist meter is about like a 4 right now. I suspect it's gonna get worse. And also I'm cramped and bloated today, so forgive me if I'm a little extra zesty. Right, should I show you my shame? Number one place where all of my unused vintage is. Prepare yourself. All of that at the bottom is all vintage clothes that I've put aside to get rid of. Very organized. Marie Kondo over here. Oh, definitely a great way to be storing these delicate pieces that are 60 years old. So if you've been here for a minute, you know, my style has changed quite a bit over the years, like the 1940s and 50s, and then it kind of shifted into more hobbity. Ooh, just touching wool right now. Ugh, it's making me sweaty. Definitely ventured more into, I guess, like fantasy and Victorian and Edwardian. My tastes have changed, and I feel like that's totally normal. All right. Okay, I think that's it. For hoarding place number 1, I've got a couple more spots. In case you thought it couldn't get any worse, hold on to your suspenders. Hoarding spot number 2. I think I've got a couple things in here. Don't ask me why. I don't know. How am I supposed to do this without any coffee? Nothing like a hot coffee. A day where your insides already feel sweltering past the point of Lucifer's butthole. Throw on some Spanx. You would not want me to be indecent now. Do you have your cozy beverage of choice? Not a huge fan of having my gams out. They're just so weird. Noodly, you know? For the most part, I have gotten rid of all of my 40s and 50s stuff. Got a few stragglers, but a lot of this is probably gonna be like 70s medieval. I have quite a few Gunne Sax that I splurged on, and then non-surprisingly, they either don't fit or they're very uncomfortable. Now, if you know me, which you probably do at this point, I am always very hesitant to get rid of clothing. Not because I'm attached to it or anything, but because when I donate clothes, I'm always afraid that they're gonna end up in a landfill anyways. I usually try to give away stuff. I used to sell clothing, but selling clothing is a whole damn job. It's especially bad with vintage clothing. I cannot risk falling into a landfill because with every garment, there is a story behind that. It's been around for 50 years. I'm not gonna be the one to throw it into a dumpster pit. But then I realized my favorite vintage store that I go to, the owner is great. I've chatted with him quite a few times. So I messaged him asking if I could ever come by and just drop this stuff off to sell and for him to appraise. And he said he's always buying. And so he might eat those words because I'm gonna show up with quite a lot of stock for him. It's gonna go to someone who's passionate about vintage and who is gonna try to sell it to the right people. I don't know, I guess I'm emotional in that way that I'm like, they can go to a new home, you know? Let's start with just whatever my eyes lay on because there is no order to this chaos. Lovely 70s medieval moment. I'm quite sad to be getting rid of this because aesthetically I really, really love this. I think this is so cute. I've worn it a couple times. I don't know, I don't reach for this. I think this was actually handmade by someone. If you look at the inside, there's no tag and it's all hand stitched. Let's try it on and it can lead me to my first point of why I don't really wear true vintage anymore. So I'm wondering if I might not be able to do the zipper on some of these because Nick is on a business trip. He's learning to roast beans. Are you gonna zip? Let me just do these buttons. Dress number 1. Come on now. Very prairie. If I had like 60s hair and makeup right now. So you may be thinking, Rachel, you crazy fool, why are you getting rid of this? One of the main reasons I don't wear vintage anymore is just comfort level. Even wearing this, as beautiful as it is, I feel stifled. Especially especially like 70s clothes. Don't know if it's what they're made out of. Maybe that's kind of when polyester like really boomed. Even this is transparent, but I can't feel any air through that. And then this has kind of like a stifling undercoat. Velvety and sweaty. And as you saw, even zipping this up, I had to be so careful. And under my video game character customization that was me being born, so careful was not one of the traits assigned. And I'm wearing clothes, I want to be able to move, to crouch. I feel like with vintage, I have to be particularly careful, especially when zipping it up. A few of these you will actually see I forked the zipper up a little bit. There is nothing more devastating to me as a person than a broken zipper. I will never, this is a fact, get around to fixing that zipper, even if I put it aside into my to mend pile. Not once. Not once, my children. Beautiful, but uncomfortable. Yeah? All right, so going in the bin. Sweaty. Along the same vein, here's another 70s. Is this Gunne Sax? Yes, it is. So, if you don't know, Gunne Sax was a specific line in the 70s that catered to, I believe, teens. And because of that, about 7 times out of 10, when you find a Gunne Sax, it is teeny tiny. Oh no, this is cute. So let me tell you the story about this, is I went to a vintage show, like a giant flea market, but just vintage clothing with my friend, and I saw this. And as I just said, finding Gunne Sax in your size, it's so unbelievably rare that when I found this and I tried it on and it actually fit, I bought it. And it is actually really cute. Oh no, oh no. But I haven't worn it once. I don't know, I just feel kind of constricted. It does fit, yes, but it is pretty tight right here, like on my rib cage, and that's where they all seem to be tight. Almost always have that like Regency kind of waist, not your natural waist. So this is my rib cage. My natural waist is right here. I think that's my problem, is that I'm always going by waist measurement where I should be doing my rib cage, you know? But by Job, if it does not look so stinking cute. I feel like, oh, Dracula's bride. I might keep this one. I'll give it another year. If I don't wear it, then I'll get rid of it. Oh, let me just peel this off of my wet body. You live to see another day. You're lucky you're cute. Sorry, was that Buffalo Bill energy? It puts the lotion on the skin. This was purchased in my quest for cute medieval dresses. Listen, I'm embarrassed to even show this. What the f was I thinking? Not a chance. It's not in the cards, which is a shame because this is really stinking cute. I must have just had the reading comprehension of today's youth when I was ordering this online, because this is clearly not the right measurements. I will say, even if it was, I don't love the material. Vintage suede is the devil's fabric. I don't know, I can't tell you the last time I put on suede and I was like, yeah, this feels good. Into the bin. Let's get some more Gunne Sax out of the way, shall we? Because I had a phase where I really thought I could make it work. This one I was a little bamboozled because I could have sworn online the measurements matched mine. I'll tell you right now. No. No, they don't. It is cute. I love the idea of these like zip up sleeves. Are they uncomfortable? And I want to rip it off of my body right now? Absolutely. Next up is this one. Again, very cute. It's got those medieval sleeves. I think I maybe could make this work if I had another pair of hands to help me with this zipper, but I'm not gonna force it because I don't want to break it. The older I get, the less I am willing for my zipping up experience to look like the scene from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Women in London must have learnt not to breathe.
Ironically, I would rather wear a cinched corset. Obviously, you know, I got it because it has the medieval vibes. Too tight, uncomfortable, it's gone. Poof, like it never existed at all. I told you I had a Gunne Sax moment. Here's another one. I really do like this one. It feels very Lizzie Bennett to me. And again, I think I just got so excited that it actually fit me and it was my measurements. I can't reach that, but the 2 layers at the bottom, very flowy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like the color. It's just something is not connecting for me. I think this is like a little unflattering. Sometimes clothing items just don't bring you joy, and this is one of them. Not for me. This one, really sad about it. Absolutely stunning. In a stubborn effort to fit into this dress, I had pushed the zipper far past its limits, and it ended up breaking the zipper. Also, I don't know what I was thinking because, yeah, not gonna happen. These are the things that I need to let go. The long and short of it, I'm getting older, my body's changing, my days of surely I can fit into this, I gotta let it go, okay? A couple of these items just barely didn't fit, and so, you know, I held on to them thinking maybe I'll lose those extra pounds, maybe I'll lose a couple inches on my waist and I can fit into this again. Not to get too emotional, but you know what? I'm so over that. One of my favorite quotes I've been seeing online, my body is the least interesting thing about me. And that has kind of like altered my brain chemistry into accepting that sometimes things aren't gonna fit and they'll never fit, and that's okay, all right? I don't need to squeeze into tiny, teeny, tiny gunny sacks and feel uncomfortable all day and afraid that if I sneeze, I'm going to send the zipper ricocheting into the atmosphere. It's okay. You know? Is my waistline ever changing? We evolve, so I want my wardrobe to evolve as well. And usually that means elastic dresses. It's just kind of been sitting there with a broken zipper for a really long time, and I am unsure what to do about it. It's one thing if you were to fix a zipper on one of your favorite dresses that you wear all the time. It's another thing to fix a zipper on something that doesn't even fit you to begin with and spend that hour fixing something just to sell it or get rid of it. Unless my vintage guy wants to take this anyways and just sell it as is, which I think I might do. I'm more likely to do that than actually fix it. Speaking of breaking the vintage clothing. So this one is a more recent purchase that I got for going to see Beetlejuice on Broadway, and it is so cute! I have a sports bra on, so it doesn't have quite the same effect. Very witchy and Halloween-y. It has like this like see-through little like midriff section. I think this was handmade, but yeah, look at those details. What did I go and do? Can you see that? Broken. Which, yes, mending clothing is not the end of the world. I think I probably could re-sew that. In fact, I think I will before I sell this. It's no surprise that as things get older, they get a little bit more fragile. And so this fabric is just getting like a little bit less strong with age, I think. Which leads me kind of into my second point. I am not the right custodian for these garments. It wrenches my gut when I break these pieces of clothing. I feel like I did a bad job taking care of them, or I'm ruining history. It takes a more mindful person than me to take care of these items and make them last. I am quite a reckless individual. My posture is abominable. These dresses were not made for shrimp mode. Especially because as I'm getting older, my time period fixation has gotten progressively more historic. Does that make sense? Look at this graph. So now at the ripe old age of 34, I have regressed my aesthetic into Victorian and Edwardian. It's kind of the cutoff of what you'll find at antique stores and vintage stores. In fact, one of my favorite items of clothing is, I actually think it's in here, this corset cover. I wear this all the time. It's delicate, but it's so pretty. It has not broken or ripped or anything. I am very, very careful with this one. It's that debate of should you wear clothing that old? I can see both arguments. I can see wanting to preserve it, as Indy says, it belongs in a museum. But I can also see the other side where clothing was meant to be worn. There's just nothing worse than a piece of clothing surviving 200 years and then it's ripped beyond repair after one single brunch date. This next one I've actually been holding on to for quite a while. Ow! Ow! Oh! Can I just say 50s and 60s zippers are made of different stuff, man. They're like torture devices. So it's this very Back to the Future 50s prom dress. I wore this to my cousin's wedding in, gosh, 2017. And since then, it's been sitting in my closet. So stinking cute. I have no notes. My interest in 40s and 50s fashion so low now that I just haven't reached for it. If I go to a formal event or a wedding or something, I choose to wear something a little bit more comfy because you do end up eating a lot of hors d'oeuvres, and you best not doubt that I am tearing it up on the dance floor. Boning in the torso area is kind of like digging in. Not the comfiest. A ray of sunshine in dress form, but it's out of here. I've always found style evolution very fascinating. I feel like my transition out of that time period was pretty abrupt. I don't know, I think you just hit a point where the stuff that you're wearing doesn't match you anymore, and I kind of feel like that's how it was with 40s and 50s. It was just a little too like prim and proper for the woman I was becoming. COVID was a very big push into changing my style, particularly the Black Lives Movement. I almost don't want to talk about this because I know there are plenty of people out there that wear that era of clothing, like 40s, 50s, are completely progressive, are not racist or sexist at all. Vintage style, not vintage values. There is a community out there that prefers those traditional dresses and traditional values. It was a community that I kind of just wanted to like distance myself a little bit from, which again, I feel bad saying because there are so many people out there that wear those clothes and don't think that way, but it was just becoming like a ew. I know. Somehow it feels better to wear like 1800s clothing and like medieval. I don't know. Let's continue. This I actually got for my medieval video. I was going to take this, modify it, make it short so it would be a little bit more medieval. Then it got shipped to me and it's too small. It's way too small. In theory, it's cute. But it's choking me. I cannot think of a worse hell than wearing a full velvet clothing item.
Into the pit.
This is an example of wearing actual Victorian Edwardian. So it's so beautiful. The old clasps. Very old. Someone clearly made this. I added the buttons for suspenders. It is stunning and it fits fine. Aesthetically, I really love how it looks, especially with like suspenders. Oh, vintage wool. I'm dying. It's so itchy. I feel like I could get this same effect from like a linen skirt or something more breathable. Ironically, I think I got this from the vintage store that I will be selling it back to. It's the circle of life. Over the years, I've tried a couple different Victorian Edwardian skirts and I just can't. I cannot with the fabrics that they used. This is another example. This one I think is Victorian. The craftsmanship, quite tight, doesn't really fit. It's itchy. I don't know what this fabric is, but it's hell on earth. Not to be dramatic. Yeah, the shape of it is really nice. I think I have passed my limit of the amount of brown skirts that I wear. It is an exorbitant amount. I'm not the one. How about we take a little break? I need to feed the fishes and let the dogs out, and I'm thirsty. So, shall we do a little nature break? How's that sound? Sound good? Okay, let's go. Hi, you wanna go outside? Real quick, I just want to show you how smart my fish are. I noticed this the other day where me and Nick were sitting on the patio and they started like flocking towards us. There they are, right? They're hungry. Watch when oh, they already know I'm over here. Here they come. Hi guys. Oh, frogs are excited too. Let's see if we can find some frogs. We had to put up this fence because Miss Pip really enjoys plopping herself in the muddy water. You making all that noise? You got some pipes on you. Oh, oh no, it's you. Cutie. All right, let's feed the fishes. Oh my God. They're like, mother.
We need sustenance.
Cuties. Okay, can I just say something very niche? You ever see spots as an adult and think to yourself, man, if I was a kid, I would so play Barbies in here? This is how I feel about this little cove. Our little waterfall. Can you imagine the stories you could make with your Barbies in there? Like, hello? It reminds me of those Barbie and action figure commercials you would see when you were a kid on TV. And they were always in this like elaborate set. The most beautiful forest Barbie-sized set you've ever seen. So I feel. All right. I'm gonna go wrestle Pip. She's probably digging a hole somewhere. And then we can head back inside.
No, leave the toad alone. Leave the toad alone. Leave him alone. Come here, I'll save you. Don't pee on me. Oh, you already did, okay. Oh, you're full of pee. Here you go, bud. Be safe on your journey.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Hey, you there. Do you love Savannah as much as I do? No, because I love her more. That's including you, Bruno. Do you also love supporting artists and handmade art made by human hands and not our monstrous computer overlords? Well, our beautiful beloved Savannah is running a Kickstarter right now for her Puppets OCs. She and her team are looking to make an animated music video with an original song, and it's all very exciting and I'm so very proud of her. So if you want to go donate to the Kickstarter, they're over 50% funded right now. Please, 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 please go to that. The link is in the bio. Please do it. I love her. Okay, goodbye. Okay, back to it.
More 70s suede, you say? Okay. For a minute there, I was really trying to make two-piece suede sets work. This feels awful. I mean, not unlike the truth of the situation, it feels like you're trying to slide skin onto your skin, which is essentially true. So I got this thinking it would be really cute with like a lacy top. It's a wrap skirt. It technically fits this way. I think what you're supposed to have this go way past there. I guess it kind of fits, you know, the second you like start walking, like, woohoo, you know, big summer blowout. Aside from that, it's just really uncomfortable. It is cute. It can be cute on someone else, and that's okay. It's this little 70s number. Again, aesthetically, I don't really have any problems with it. Aside from, and this is just a very kind of picky thing, is that this type of skirt, it's not really like an A-line. It kind of like hugs your hips and then goes out like top thigh. I never find that it works for me. You have like hip dips. It always just kind of looks like kind of weird. And then it's got this pattern right here that's like accentuating the difference. This purchased specifically for my Pink Pony Club, but make it vintage. I am telling you right now, I think someone could lose a couple phalanges on 50 zippers. That could probably zip, but I don't want to force it. That's very cute. One of the things I will say that I do miss about vintage clothing, and I guess what kind of drew me towards it, this dress is probably from the 50s or 60s. To think about the fact someone probably wore this to prom or a wedding, it's a form of archaeology, right? Holding an item and knowing that it has seen so many different hands and stories. It's the same thing with clothing. This used to be somebody's, you know? They probably wore this and were gussying up in their mirror, getting ready to meet Johnny out on the town for a shake. So I think that's something kind of magical about vintage clothing. It's just something I always think about. I've said this before, but I wish that I had the superpower to like touch an object or a piece of clothing and then like immediately have like a That's So Raven moment of who owned it, what they were doing in it. I need to know every little story detail. I need to know the lore. Seeing as I bought this specifically just for one video and I don't often wear pink, it can go to someone else. This one I'm a little sad I didn't end up liking because I think it's very adorable. It's very breathable. It's like a nice cotton. Look at how cute. Unfortunately, whop. I am sensing a pattern here. And that pattern is that I don't pay close enough attention to this measurement. I think I see that the waist technically would fit and then I'm like, done! These delicate, dainty little dresses don't fit my girthy lungs. So it's unfortunate because this is very cute. It'll make someone else very hippie. Ain't no way. Maybe. Once again, I could probably get this to fit if I really squeezed. But what have we learned? That's right. Rachel doesn't like to do that. Not meant for a full chest, if you will. I got some of the girls up here, but then some is squished down here. Very divided. I feel like Rose from Titanic. If I were to wear this, I would probably wear like historical shapewear to kind of, you know? It's cute. I might hold on to this one. Look at it. It looks a lot older than it is. Like, this is from the 70s, but I could easily use this for an earlier time period. And as someone who frequently partakes in the game of dress up, I could maybe use this for like a photo shoot or something. Shimmy game's unmatched. This one's a Gunne Sax shirt. Wow, what a look. Yeah, I don't know. It fits fine. It does nothing for me. I don't want it. All right. I think that just about does it. We filled up those 2 boxes almost perfectly. I guess a few more points that I want to make. I think, you know, vintage as a whole, it's not cheap. Right? It's pretty expensive, especially the Gunne Sax. I don't know what I was thinking. Let's just say I'm quite thankful I'm able to go drop these off at the vintage store and hopefully get some money back while also keeping that cycle going. I guess my point with that is that if I'm gonna spend $200 on something, I think I would rather give that money to a sustainable clothing brand or like a seamstress who's doing it for a living. That way I can kind of know that everything's gonna fit me. I have a lot of torn feelings about not wearing as much vintage anymore because I try to be sustainable in what I do and the way that I live. Vintage clothing, it has that sustainability already built in because it's old. So you're kind of, you know, you're breathing new life into something. I love dusty, musty old stuff, but I think I should probably keep that in the homeware and decor category, not wearing them. I cannot be trusted. It's sort of crazy to think that some of you have been here since the days of me wearing more true vintage. Also mind-boggling to think that that was 10 years ago. I'm sure there have been people along the way that have kind of dipped out because they came for pinup fashion, and then I kind of just like slowly tiptoed away from that to see how much I could get away with. But if you're still here, I very much appreciate you. I can't believe that some of you have been here since the beginning, and that is so magical. Yeah, I'm tired, man. Who would have thought trying on clothes would make me need a nap so much? I hope you enjoyed sort of a more like relaxed, laid back, chill kind of video. We have some exciting things that I don't want to talk about just yet, just in case it falls through. Very exciting opportunity presented itself, and we're going to seize it. I think Patreon will probably be the first to know what's going on and be in the loop in that, just in case you're interested. Anyways, I appreciate you. Hope you have a lovely weekend, and let me know if this like pin-up to fantasy fashion pipeline is something that you've also experienced. More specifically, the emo to pin-up to medieval fashion. It seems to affect a lot of people. Anyways, I love you so very much. Whether you're new or old to this channel, if you're new here and you feel like sticking around, feel free to subscribe. I upload every other Friday, and we have fun here. It's a wet one. Get that out of here. I will see you in my next video. Bye. I never know what to do with my mic in these situations. I need like a boom operator. Get off. Ah.
Feels so sweaty. Ugh.